But they're really criticizing science because I represent science.
He says he represents science.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he says he's, you know what that reminds me of? He represents science. It reminds me of. Okay,
Look
never
at me,
mind.
sure.
There you go.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
I'm telling you. I'm science now. Dude, you're not science. I was talking about this morning on one of our affiliates. And by the way, welcome back to the radio program. DanaLash.com. It's good to be with you. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and happy Hanukkah. As I said, I was discussing this with one of our affiliates this morning. I don't trust him because he's so full of himself. And this is a guy who, he was doing magazine covers and doing all kinds of stuff when he should have just been sticking to talking about medicine. I mean, he's NIAID. He's the director of NIAID. Your job, your role during a planet-wide pandemic is a sacred position because you are to develop a trust between yourself and the people that you claim you're trying to save. And I question the motivation of people who go and do magazine covers and do interviews that talk about politics and everything but medicine. I question your motivation when your public figure, your persona becomes more about politics and self-gratification and ego more than it does about informing individuals of the behavior of the virus and the next steps, etc. Especially when you very clearly and very publicly change your position on a number of issues because you're trying to ingratiate yourself with a certain political sect. It is a sacred position because if you claim that you care about people's lives, then you wouldn't do anything to jeopardize their trust in you. So that's where I call BS on this. I don't think that he cares like he says he does. And if he did, then he wouldn't be doing anything to undermine his position and the trust between him and Americans. He's not an elected figure. He's someone who works at a government agency funded with our tax dollars. I don't give a rat's ass what he thinks about politics. If I hire you for a specific job, I don't give a rat's ass what your opinion is about anything other than the purpose for which you are hired. Now, I'm not in a position to fire him. If I was, I would. Because it's insubordination to the taxpayer. That's how I look at it. And I think more people need to realize that insubordination to the taxpayer, that's the thing that we used to throw tea in the harbor for, and we had an entire civil war over. Now, everyone's like, oh, I'm ready to have a civil war. If you can't get out and vote, you're not going to prosecute a civil war. Sit down. I had a huge argument with somebody about that because they were like, they were telling me like, oh, well, I'm ready to go to the streets. And I know for a fact that this person didn't vote in the last two elections, either the municipal election, nor did they vote in this last election in 2020. And I'm like, you can't even get out to vote. No, you'd be the first person I would go after. No. But this thing with Fauci, why is he talking about any of this other stuff? Trust is a huge thing when you are at that level and you're talking to an entire country. Your message should only be your vocation. This is what I know. He is paid for what? What is he paid for? What is Anthony Fauci paid for at his position as director of NIAID? He's paid to discuss what? Virology, epidemiology, medicine, how to deal and control with things like flu strains, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Are we paying Dr. Anthony Fauci to talk about anything other than that for which he was hired? No. We're not. This man is on television honestly, to me, it seems like he's on TV more than he's in the damn lab. He's out there doing everything but shoring up goodwill with Americans. He has lost credibility because of this. Do you understand what I'm telling you? When you are in this bureaucratic position, if you did your job well, if you were actually selfless, or if your number one priority was to minimize confusion and make sure that Americans trusted you enough to take you seriously, everything that Fauci's been doing of late would be the last thing that you would do. So when you have people out there who are hesitant because they've had these figureheads in these positions of authority, people they are supposed to trust, people whose tax dollars are supposed to purchase that trust, by the way. I don't pay 6 figures in taxes to not trust the people that my tax dollars are paying. That suit I bought for Anthony Fauci. His straight, clean teeth, I purchased that for Anthony Fauci. The product that holds his wiry-ass gray hair to his scalp, I purchased for Anthony Fauci. I purchased everything that he enjoys right now, and as a result of that purchase, I want his knowledge and not his politics. Anything else is insubordination. And then you have people who are made hesitant because these individuals are abusing their taxpayer-funded positions. And then these people have the audacity to attack good men and women out there who were made hesitant by the insubordination and abuse of authority by people like this. If I ran NIAD, I would have him escorted out by security with his stuff in a box.